Good evening, everyone. I am Tanishka Srivastava, a core committee member of ISTE. Welcome to Taskflow with GCP, where we will be working with GCP's APIs enhanced with OAuth 2.0. ISTE, or Indian Society for Technical Education, is a national non-profit making society. Our aim is to equip engineers of today with the technical and management skills to solve the challenges of tomorrow by learning and being a part of departments such as technical, electrical, management, and design. We also organize a plethora of events and hands-on workshops aimed at making better professionals, bringing about holistic development of our community. Horizon is an annual national technical summit hosted by ISTE-VIT. This summit includes a massive hackathon, Technica, and a slew of other events and workshops in a variety of fields such as web dev, machine learning, pure electronics, IoT, Web3, app dev, and competitive coding. Technica is a 48-hour hackathon held in Horizon by ISTE-VIT with the goal of inspiring participants to push their limits in the quest for excellence. With around 1,000 participants and an array of creative ideas for a more technologically promising future. Now, let's start with the content of the webinar, Taskflow with GCP. Now, what is GCP? It stands for Google Cloud Platform, a set of cloud computing services that offer a variety of features for businesses and end users. It has a large number of APIs, which stands out for Application Programming Interface, and that allow developers to interact with the GCP services and resources. So today we are going to make use of Google Sheets, Google Calendar, and Gmail APIs to interact with the respective apps. So yes, these are a set of protocols that allow different software applications to communicate and exchange data. Now, as I told that it will be enhanced with OAuth 2.0, let's get to know what is that. So it is open authorization is an industry standard that allows users to share data with applications while keeping their personal information private. The shared data depends on the scopes you set while setting up the consent screen. So you have the power, you have the resources to limit the information you want to share on your website. Okay, so today we are going to add tasks or events in a color-coded priority order. Color-coded priority means that we will be having 3 priority, high, medium, and low, and accordingly we will change colors for those events. Then add the same for other collaborators that that if you are the organizer of some event or you are the head, you can add the same event or tasks for your fellow batchmates or whoever is working with you. And then customized email reminders through Gmail API. So one thing that I would like to tell is that when you use Google Calendar and you create an event for others through your app, they do not send a notification to the collaborator. So here we will be customizing those email reminders. Okay, so the tech stack we will be working with is HTML, Tailwind CSS, Vanilla JS, and APIs, the 3 APIs I told, and Express framework will be used as for the backend or the server-side scripts. Okay, now, so we will be requiring these installations before we proceed. So let's continue. So first of all, I need you guys to open your VS Code and create a folder. I have created a Taskflow folder over here. So now I will prepare 2 more folders, one client and one named server. So now this will have all the client side scripts. I'll go on view and terminal. I will change the directory to my client. So now here I want to install Tailwind. For doing so, you need to search Tailwind over here. You can select get started. And here are the command lines that will help you install Tailwind. So we will one by one paste these commands. Okay, now we will run this command as well. So when you see client, there are node modules installed and a config.js file has been created. So when you click this, you can see that Tailwind CSS has been installed over here. Further, this is our tailwind.config file. Now we will create input.css and copy the content. So we will create a file and name it input.css and we'll paste it over here. The next command is this. So we need to be careful that they have created their input folder in src, but we don't have any src folder here. So we need to remove this. Press enter. Okay, so now you see now your output.css file with all the Tailwind properties is there. So before using, I want you all to go to your tailwind.config.js file and write in the content in quotes /view /asterisk dot html. Now this means that all the code inside the view folder, which is of the HTML extension, will have this CSS implemented. So till now we haven't created any view folder, but we will create one. And in this view folder, we will further create a file called index.html. Okay, so for testing this thing, we will copy this and check if it is working. So, okay, so now Tailwind has been installed and this is a demo HTML code for testing it. For running it, you need to go at extensions and search for a live server. I have it already installed. You can install this live server by Ritwik Day. The install button will be here. And so when you install, you will see a go live button right here. So when you press it, it is there. So the properties have been applied. Okay. So what we are going to do is, okay. So now we are done with these installations. Now we'll proceed further with the index.html file. So to make your work easier, we'll be sharing a link soon on the comment box. You can copy the files from there for index.html. So this is the code. Copying it. Okay. So we will save it, and then we will go on our. We have closed the portal. So we will run it again. Okay. So this is how our index.html looks. Fine. Now what we are going to do is we need to link this sign in button with the OAuth, which I told you. So before doing so, I require you all to set up your OAuth consent screen. For that, you need to write in your browser console.cloud.google.com and you will be seeing such a screen over here. So I will be creating a new project. So I will name this project as Task Organizer and I will create. Okay, so we can see that it's under process. A project is being created for us. Okay, so now we will select this project. You can see that it is right here. So as I told you that we'll be working with the APIs. So we'll open APIs and services. Okay, so before moving further, we need to enable the APIs that we are going to use today. So we quickly switch on to the library tab over here and search the APIs. So we'll be enabling the calendar. So we'll enable this. We'll take a few seconds. So after that, okay, when you go to enabled APIs and services, you can always see that okay, this is highlighted, so now this is enabled for you. We will do in a similar manner for Sheets and Gmail API as well. Okay, now we will enable the Gmail API. Okay, so now when we go to the enabled APIs and services page, I can see that all these three APIs are highlighted and have been enabled. So now we'll proceed further for setting up our consent screen. Okay, so you need to select external as your user type over here and create. Okay, so my app name, I'll give the same as my project name, that is Task Organizer. User support mail, I've logged in with this, so this will come. And same email address I'm going to provide over here. So now here comes the scopes page. Now the scopes which you set, only that amount of information will be shared with the website. So I want the email of the user. So I will put a tick mark over here and then I will select calendar. In calendar, I need the events. So yeah. So here I get calendar.events because I will be dealing with events today. So we put a tick mark on this and then we search for Gmail. In Gmail, I want to send the mails, so I'll be searching for gmail.set, which is here. So on the second page, I'll put a tick mark. After Gmail, uh, I'll be dealing with sheets. So spreadsheets. I will put a tick mark here as well and update it. So I can see email, gmail.send, calendar.events, and spreadsheets have been added. Then save and continue. The third page will be for the test users, like who all can access have an access to your website. So I'll be giving access to my 2 email IDs. You can change this at any time if you want to add more people or if you want to remove someone. Okay. Okay, so I've added. So I'll not save and continue. So now this is the summary page, which has everything included over here. So now we will switch to credentials. Okay, we will create certain credentials like API key. Okay, API key is there. Then we'll create credentials again. And I will create OAuth client ID. So it is asking the application type. Since it's a website, I'll be selecting web application. I will again give it the same name. And now here it talks about the URIs. So if you see, this is a URL where we want our OAuth to work upon. So we will copy this, come back here, and under authorized, we will paste it. But one thing that is to be duly noted here is we will remove this IP address format and we are going to write localhost because this is what is preferred over here or supported over here. And till 5500, we are going to copy and add it over here. Okay, so these things are done and now I will create. Okay, so now I have everything ready on for the OAuth portion. Now we will get to know that what is the server side script and what is the client side script. Okay, so client side means that the action takes place on the users, that is the client's computer, whoever is using the website. Server side means that the action takes place on a web server like where on whichever computer the website's main files are stored. Okay, so now while dealing with these two scripts, we will have particularly two type of HTTP requests. One is the GET request and one is the POST request. GET is used when you want to retrieve data from the server. So we will, like we generated our API key and client ID. So those are all sensitive informations. So we will store it in an env file, and then we will extract it from the server, and it will be sent to the client. And another HTTP request is the POST request. This is sending data to the server. So like it's like you are sending data to the server for some applications to continue, and GET is like you are receiving data from the server. Okay, so these two are done. And before we move further, some keywords that I need you to be familiar with. So the promise object represents the eventual completion or failure of an asynchronous operation and its resulting value. Now, the promise is in one of these states. It can be either be pending, fulfilled, or rejected. So whenever we create a promise, there are two parameters, that is reject and resolve. So that is there. So it can be in either of these states. Now we'll come to asynchronous function. This function allows JavaScript programs to start long-running tasks while continuing to run other tasks in parallel in JS. And this is declared with the async keyword. Now, await, we often use await with asynchronous functions. So it's a keyword in JS that tells the interpreter to pause a function until an asynchronous operation is complete. So now since async functions are independent and do not hinder the control or execution of other functions, but sometimes we need those functions to be completed before we proceed. So then comes the await keyword. Okay, so this is there. Then we will proceed towards the server-side installations. So I'll help you in installing Express, Cors.env, and Morgan. Let us get to know what are these things quickly. So it's a security feature that allows client to web applications to access resources. Cors allows applications to interact with third-party resources and APIs. So basically, it's a security feature which actually limits the scope or domain of who is able to have an access to your website. Okay. .env is a module or library that can be used to manage environment variables in programming languages. I told you that we'll be sending certain sensitive informations from the server side to the client side. So those sensitive informations are stored in a .env file as environment variables. Third, Morgan can log information such as the request method, the URL, request method as in post or get, the URL of the request, the status code of the response. Now, what's the status code of the response? There are mainly two status code we'll be dealing with today. One is on the successful completion of the function, that is 200. And when there's an error, the response code is 500 and the length of the response body. Okay. So we are done with this. Then, okay, so now let's proceed with those installations. So to do this, we'll go back in the directory since we are in client right now. And then we will switch to server, and then we will install these things. So npm install express, first.env, Morgan, and one more thing is Modemon. That is, this helps you run the app.js or whatever file you will create on the server side to automatically run when you save it. So you need not to run node app.js again and again after saving it. So we will install these things. Okay, so now it has been installed. And if we click on server, we can see here that, okay, certain courses there .env and other things are there. Now I want you to make a change or an addition over here. I want you to write type module over here. So this helps in importing Express and everything inside the file. So you need to write it. Without this, it won't function. So this is done. Now we come to server and we create a file. I will name it app.js. This I will import all the frameworks or all the middlewares that we uh, install. Sorry. So import Express from Express. This is unhighlighted because it's not in use till now. So we will make a variable app and which will install all the instances or properties of our Express framework and we can put it to use easily. Then we will import course and we will be importing Morgan as well. Then we will be importing .env. Okay, so for .env to function, we will write a syntax .env.config and then we will put course also to use. So what are we going to write? We will write origin and asterisk. That means I'm not limiting anyone. Anybody with any domain can access my website. Okay, there won't be a semicolon but a comma because there are more attributes. Then I have credentials, which I'll be setting as true. This is basically for cookies and HTTP authentication. Then a method. Okay, so I'll be using get and post method. So we will write that. Okay, so this is done. And we put a semicolon. Okay, so it's there. Okay, it shows one problem. Okay, so app.use, there's a bracket, course, curly braces, origin, and these things are there. Okay, I've put a full stop by mistake. It will be a comma. Okay, so after this, we have put course to use. Now we will put more into use. So this is the syntax for that. Okay, so now what we will do is we will first set up the server and let's see if it's running. For that, I will write const load is equals to 8800. Okay, so now app.listen. Yeah, okay, so this is there. So now when we run this, I will be seeing that your server is running on port 8800. So I will write it once. It says file crashed. Okay, there may be some error in this. I'll check it again. Cannot use import statements outside a module. Okay, so just a sec. Okay, so we have already set this as type module. And then we proceed here. We'll check it again if we have all the syntaxes right. Code expressed from Express is there. Then we are using this. And course, then Morgan, then .env. Okay, so this is there, but still. Okay, okay, fine. It's coming. Maybe just took a time to load, but we'll save it again and check if it's running. Okay, so the server is running on port 8800. Okay, so that error usually comes when you don't type module over here. Okay, so now we'll proceed further. Now I want my GAPI client to get loaded. Now for that to happen, what I need is I'll be requiring my API key and my discovery docs. So now all the sensitive data comes into play. So I'll be creating file .env file and I'll be storing everything here. So I'll be having my API key here. Then I will have my client ID here. Then I will have scopes which I set. Then I will also have my discovery docs and I will store my redirect URI as well. Okay. So one by one, we'll feed in the informations inside. So you go to your this page. Here you will find your API key. Just copy this and paste inside quotes. And the client ID is here. You copy this and inside quotes. Again, you will paste it here. Okay, as for scopes and discovery, I'll be sharing a link. The link will be shared on the chat box or comment box soon. And for the redirect URI, we'll go on the task organizer. And this is the URI that you need to set. So we will copy and we will paste it inside quotes over here. So now for scopes and discovery docs, I have it stored over here. The link for this doc will also be sent. So all these you can find it in the documentation section. And these are the scopes that you sent on the Google Auth consent screen. So we will copy this, paste it over here. So, okay. So my data is here. Now I'll proceed with writing my init client. So I'm sending some data from the server. So I will write app.get. It's the basic syntax. Okay, so now here I will write init client. Okay, so this is there. Also, I'm missing, yeah, fine. So this is done. Now what I will do is I will create a try and test block. In this try block, I will prepare a form called client init data. Inside this, I will set my API key. So now this is the syntax for loading any file from the env file process.env dot the variable name you gave. Okay. API key and discovery docs. So now the discovery docs has been sent in the form of a string. So we will convert its type to JSON. So we will make a change over here. We'll make it a JSON type, that is key value pairs. Okay, so after doing this, if everything is successful over here, that means response dot created. If it's 200, that if it is successful, then we are going to send this. Okay, so this is there. Then in the error, that is if it's a response code 500, we will deal with that. So we will write console dot error, the error, and we will also write this. Yeah. So this is done. Okay. So your init client is done on the server side, and you are sending API key and discovery docs. Now what we are going to do is we will create a folder in client called src, and inside this we will have our index.js. Okay, so here we will be dealing with the init client function again. So async function, I will name it init client. Okay, so now again a try and catch block. So inside the try block, I will get the response from the server. I will await and fetch. Okay, so now I'll write here HTTP localhost 8800, since our port is 8800, and we named it as init client. So I'll be writing that. And in this, the method is get. Okay. So now we have a response from the server. If that response is not okay. So response.okay serves the same purpose as response status 200. So if it is not so, we will throw an error. And if it is fine, then we will create a new variable data that will await the response from this response. So now this data has API keys and discovery log. We will destructure those. Okay. So now API key will have data.api key and discovery docs will have data.discovery docs. So after this, what we are going to do is new promise. I told you there are two parameters mostly, but now we are just dealing with resolve. So API client is supposed to be loaded over here. So we will write GAPI. GAPI is Google Client Library, the API library. So we will load it. Okay. GAPI dot load client and resolve. So this is done. This is for loading the client. And after this, we will have this. So now it is the GAPI's client predefined function init in which we will set the API key and discovery docs. So this is the same API key I want to set over here. And then discovery docs will be discovery docs. Okay. So this is done. And then what we will do is we will log that okay console.log client has been loaded. Okay. This is there. Then under error, we will write console.error and the error itself. To make it precise, you can also write that, okay, error loading time and then the error. Okay, so init client function is there to load the library. Now, these two functions are not called anywhere. So what I will do is, as soon as the window loads, I will create a asynchronous function. Inside it, I will have a try catch block. So in the try block, what I will write, I will await this init client. Okay. So I will await this init client and see if the client library is loaded properly. Else, what I will do, console.error failed to initialize client and the error. Okay. So now as soon as the window loads, it should show. Okay, I don't have it over here right now. No, I have. Okay, so we will open console. We go to inspect and open console. Okay, so it says that there is an error on line 26. Okay, so it's failing to fetch the data. Fine. So we will check if everything is all right over here. So window.onload, that as soon as the window loads, there will be an asynchronized function with a try block that will await the init client. We will check if the function name is correct. Okay, this is there. Then there is a catch block. Okay, so this is fine. Okay, then we will come over here and check if this is fine, if this URL is fine. So it's obviously http colon localhost 8800 and init client, and we are using get method. So we will go to app.js and we will check over here. So this is init client. So this init client and that name should be same. Okay, so it is same. Okay, the data is fine here. What we'll do is we'll just try running the server again. Okay, so server is running. We will go to index.html again, close this port, start a new port. Okay, So maybe refreshing issue or something. So now it shows that client has been initialized. So the Google API client has been initialized. Now let's move further for the sign in portion. Again, for the sign in, I want to send certain sensitive data from my server side. So I'll go to app.js again. I will again have another app.get function. This time I'll be making a sign, making it with a name sign. So app.get sign in. Okay. This is not I want right now. I will be having a try catch flow again. So what I write here is I will write constant redirect URI. So I want my URI right now. So it is what process dot env dot redirect URI. Let me check if this is the name I gave. Yeah, it's the same thing. So this is there. Now what I want a variable auth URL. Okay, so we will check it once. Accounts, google.com. So OAuth 2, this will all be present in the documentation. Okay, so yeah, here we are loading from the env file, process.env.client. Okay, so and redirect URI, that is here. But now what I want to get added here is and redirect URI equals dollar. So after this, I will be writing inside these braces encode URI component and then this redirect URI. Okay, response type will be token and scope has also been set to process that I've used scopes. So it's okay. It's a scopes. Yeah. So this is the auth URL. Okay. So now I want to send this auth URL. So we will check the response status. If it is 200, then we'll send this. And then under catch, we will write the status as 500. And then there is some internal server error. Okay. So this is there. You can even log the error. Okay. So we are sending the data, the auth URL. So upon successful completion, it will be redirected to this auth URL, which has all our sensitive data. So we'll again go back to index.js. And after init client, we will write a sign in with OAuth function. This is there. We will have a try catch block. So to check, okay, this function is running health first console.log, sign in with OAuth. Then we will await for the response from the server. Okay, so that was also a GET request. So now it's signed in. So this is there. Then what I will do, create another variable data and write the response over there. And then in auth URL, I will be having data.auth URL. Okay, this is there. I will relocate my windows to this. Okay, So this is there. Now under catch error, we will simply log it. Okay, this is there. So now when we go to our index.html file, we will find a sign in button which has the ID sign in button. So what we do is I want that whenever a person clicks that sign in button, sign in OAuth function will be triggered. So I will write it over here that document dot get element by ID, not sign in but sign in button. So this is there. We will be calling this. Okay. Yeah. So we loaded it by the ID and added a event listener. On click, it will trigger the sign in with OAuth function. This function. Okay. So we will save this file and check if it is working. So client has been initialized. We sign in. It shows signing in with OAuth. Okay. So suppose if I put this ID, which I have not put as test user, it will show that you can't access it. See, access denied. So I will put another ID. So it will ask me to accept everything and we'll continue with it. Okay. So this is there. So I have successfully signed in with OAuth authentication. Now after this, there is an access token. So now let's see what is an access token. Okay. So now so an access token is a string, usually a long series of characters issued by an authorization server, for example, Google, after the user grants permission to your application. It serves as a key to access a specific APIs or resource for a limited amount of time. So what it does is it acts as a key through which you can give a call to various APIs. Okay. So if you see over here, we have an access underscore token after the hash. So we will be extracting this token. Now, I want to send this URL to the server side, extract this access token from there, and send it back again to the client. So now we will be writing another function, which I will name as handle token response, and it will again be a async function. Okay. Now I will store that URL in hash variable, and if a variable like hash exists, then what I am going to do is I will have a try block now. Okay, now I have a try block, and in this try block, I will send this data to the server. So I have not yet named, but I plan on naming it as extract token. We do not require this. Okay, and as for this, we need. Okay, fine. So now our method is post. We are sending some data to the server now. And the content type will be application or JSON. Okay, so this has been set. Now what we are going to do, headers is there. Now we will set the body. So body is basically the data which we are sending. And we want to send hash, but in a JSON data type, that is key value pair. So we will write JSON.stringify and hash. So we are sending the content in a JSON type. Okay. So now after this, we will again go back to our server and we'll create another thing. Okay. So what we will do is Now we will have a post request, and as I named it extract token, remove this. So now before writing anything, we will first write a try catch, and under this try, I will have this hash. And as we sent it as the body, so we will request, since now we were sending responses, but now a request has been sent, so we will write request dot body over here. Now this thing will not work until I initialize or write a middleware over here that allows JSON file to be uh, interpreted. So what I will write is app.use express.json. So now this will be interpreted easily. After this, what I'm going to do is I will extract the token. So what I am doing is I'm replacing the hash with a null value. In the URL, if you have noticed, the access token is after the hash. So now I'm replacing that hash with a null value, and that params stores it. Now what I will do is I'll create access token and this params dot get access token, because this is how it is stored in the URL. Now, if this access token exists, I will send this data again the same line. I will send this access token. Else, if it is not found, then what we're going to do, yeah, this that is there. Then else this dot status 400, that is the not found thing, and this will be JC. Okay, so fine. Now we can simply write, except for that it says we can write error. So this is there, and under the catch, we can console dot error the error. Okay, so now what it is doing is it is extracting the access token and sending it to the client side. Fine. Okay, and then we will write another. Okay, this is done. Again, we go here, come here. Now, after this, we will check if response not okay, then of course throw an error, and if not, then we will store the data. So, as we did before, we will write. Okay, so it is here now. Then, okay, I want it to be a global variable. So what I will do is is it the same variable? Yes. So okay, now I've stored it in here. Then what I will do, I will assign this access token to the GAPI client. So GAPI dot client dot set token, and this will be set. Now what I will do is after this I will store it on my local storage as well. So I use the syntax local storage dot set item. I want to store it with this name, and this is the variable we are storing. Oh, or I can make a little bit of change. We put an underscore over here. Okay. So now it has been stored in our local storage. So I can, for checking, I can console.log the access token which has been sent. Okay, now this is there. In the catch, we will write this. Okay. So now we must have an access token after we log in. So we will sign in again. Okay, so I don't see any access token over here, but neither there is an error. Fine. So we will check this. So it shows null and undefined for now. So what we will do is we'll go to app.js, and if we will see that what is this access token, we will log this access token. So we need to log in for that. Okay, I can't see this. Okay, so siren is working, net client is there. So what we are going to do is we'll go back to index.js. Okay, so what we are going to do is check the code once again for any other syntax errors maybe. So there is 100 token response. We are getting it windows.location.hash. Then if there is that, then we are sending wait fetch localhost 8800 extract token. Then method is post. Headers is this. It's stringify hash. Then we check it over here. It's the same thing. Extract token. Then request.body is here. Then we are constant params is equals to new URL, search params, hash dot replace hash with the null value. Then constant access token is params dot get and access token written like this. And if access token is there, then we are sending a responsive status of 200 dot JSON, and the same access token we are sending. Then here it's else case. If it's not found, it's response.status 400.json. Error is there, invalid token, but since it's not displaying this error, so it's fine. And then this dot status is 500 internal server errors. So this is fine. Okay, so we'll again go back here and check. So after we get the data, we are storing data over here. So if not response dot okay, we are throwing an error. Then okay, then constant data is awaiting response dot JSON. Fine, and then access token is equals to data dot access token. Fine, this is correct. And then GAPI dot client dot set token. We are setting the access token with this variable on our GAPI client. That's okay. That's okay. We're storing it in the local storage with this name and access token, this variable. But we are then consoling, this thing is not coming. So we will check that after console.log the response one. Wait, I'll just close this and run the server again. Okay, side by side, I'll open console. Okay, so after client has been initialized, okay, wait. We will go to index.js again. So we have created this handler.token response, but okay, sorry, my bad. But we did not call this function anywhere. So after the client is loaded, we need to call this function for it to run. So now we will check. Okay, so now see, it's returning the response and the access token as well. Right? So this is it. Then I'll remove this extra console.log from here. Fine. So now we'll proceed further. Now we have the access token. Now what I want that after my access token is stored, I want the email with which I have signed in to get stored in a spreadsheet. So for that, I want you to open Google spreadsheet. So I'll sign in. Okay, so I'll open a blank spreadsheet. And before you do anything, first share it with your collaborator so that when they sign in, so I will give it task organizer. Okay, so I will save this and I will write my other email ID which I want to work with, and I will add them as a sharing partner with this ID. Okay. So now in this URL, whatever lines you see after that D slash before edit, it's your spreadsheet ID which we will be requiring. So I need you to copy this till before edit, go to your .env file, write spreadsheet ID, and in quotes I want you to store that. Okay, so this is done. Now we will get first the, okay, so now here we will first get the user email which is developed. So we will write another async function which is get user email. Okay, so in this again I will have a try and catch block. So in try, what we are going to do is we'll wait a response from the GAPI client library of the user's user info, that is the email. So I'll write gapi.client.request. I will use the request function. Okay. Now from path, okay. So I want this path, that is google.api's OAuth v1 user info. Okay, just change it to v3 OAuth to v3 user info. Now path is done. I want a response from this path. So after this, what I'm going to do, I got it. So user email will have response dot result dot email. So whatever result this response will give, the email part of it will get stored in this user email. So now this thing is not declared, so I have to use it again. So I want to make it global. So I will write user email equals null. Okay. So now, yeah. So now we have a user email over here. We will return this. After returning, the catch block is empty, so we will log the error. Console.error failed to fetch user email. Okay, so this is there. I will create another function. Okay, fetch user email. Again, I will have a try catch block. Try. I will first store the email. So await getting the email. So now we have the email. Then if it exists, I want to store it in spreadsheet. So I will create a function very soon, but first let me write. So I will create the same function and I will pass the user email in that. Okay. So this is there. Okay. So if is closed under this, we will write, yeah, email not found, and in error we can log the error. Okay. So now we have to create this store in spreadsheet. Now to have this function, first I will comment it out. So first I need the spreadsheet ID and others data to be sent from the server side. So I'll again go back here, app.get, store user. So here what I will do is I will write a try-catch block. Try. I will get the spreadsheet ID first. So process.env spreadsheet ID. Then I will decide the range where I want the data to be stored. Okay, so in sheet 1, because that is by default sheet 1, and I want to store in the A, A row or A column, whatever is it. So I want to store it over there. And then I will create a form, params, in which spreadsheet ID will be this spreadsheet ID. Okay, constant params, spreadsheet ID will be, okay, so some error is over here. So spreadsheet ID I have loaded, constant range I have loaded. Then spreadsheet ID is this. I will see what is the error. Okay. Let me write the range as well. Okay, so I think there's an error over here. So request resolve. This is there. So user comma request and response. This arrow curly braces. Then we'll have a try block. After this, it wants to spreadsheet ID is equals to this process.env and cannot redeclare block scoped variable spreadsheet ID. Okay, wait. Change its name constant spreadsheet ID equals to process.env that, and then we'll use this and then const range. Now error cannot. Okay, so Maybe I'll change this also to range. Okay. So this has an error. We will check. Okay, so sheet one, this value is fine, and we have a semicolon as well. And constant params is there, comma is there. This, okay, so this is not the same thing. Okay, so it shows, okay, what is this? This is the try. This is for the params. I just rewrite it to avoid confusion. So I will be storing constant spreadsheet. Okay, wait, what is there in EMV file? Okay, it's all in caps and with underscore. Fine. We go there. We will write constant spreadsheet ID equals this. Then we will store constant rain as this, but not A1. I just want it to be A. Okay, this is done. What I will do is I will put const parents equals. What I will do is I will give spreadsheet ID as spreadsheet ID and the range as range. Okay. So this is done. Now I have a form over here. I'll put a semicolon. Then if everything goes on successfully, I will return this params and inside catch the console.error, the error. And this as well. Okay, so this is done. Now we'll proceed with our this function. This function stored in spreadsheet, and what we are passing is the user email. So we will again have a attach block. So we will have a try catch block and we will get the response from store user method get correct. So this is there, and again the not response okay, it will throw the error. Then I will have the data stored in this, and then I will destructure it. Then I will create constant params. Okay, spreadsheet ID. Okay, so I will define the spreadsheet ID as the one which I have got from the server side, range the same, and value input option will be user entered. After this, put a semicolon over here, and then we will also make another form named value range body. So I don't want this right now, but first I will set the major dimension, that is rows. Then I will have values. Now what values are supposed to be feeded in the rows? Okay, not curly braces, square brackets. Okay, so I want the user email to be stored along with the timestamp, like what time did the user enter. Okay, so this is done. Fine. And then after having all the values, we will call the API. And inside this, Okay, so we will append the parents form and value range bodies. So this will get appended in the spreadsheet. Then what we are going to do is, if response status that user email has been stored, else it will give an error. Then we will go to catch and we will write console.error failed to append values, and we have another respect. So we write console.error failed to store user email. So now we will see if upon login using this predefined functions of append, if the value is getting stored in the spreadsheet or not. So we'll go back, we'll sign in again. Okay, so it's not getting stored. And okay, fine. So I'll just rerun it again. Also, let's check if stored in I have uncommented it. Yeah. So call this function first, fetch user email, then only this function will be called. So fetch.user email, I want as soon as the login is done, I want this to be called. So after we retrieve the access token, I will call fetch user email function. Okay. So now we will index.html, we'll close the port and run it again. Side by side, don't forget to open the console for checking out any error. Okay, sign in. Okay, so now it shows my email. At this time, I have logged in. So the integration of sheets which we are using at a database to store the email has been done, and you get a message over here as well that your user email has been stored. Now further, after this, after storing the user, I want a form.html where we will enter the details of the form. So in Vue itself, we will create another file named form.html. Okay, so if check access token done. So yeah, we are going to send another link for form.html code. So we do not waste any time on basic Tailwind and HTML portion. So I have my code written over here. I will just copy and paste it. You can also copy and paste from the link sent to you guys. So I'll copy this, and inside form.html, I'm going to paste this link. Okay. Now, what I want that after the user email has been fetched, the window should redirect to this form. So we will again go back to index.js and fetch user email done. And after this, I want window dot location dot href equals dot slash form.html. Okay. So we will see this thing. Okay. So now this is in this format. Okay, I will check there's form.html. Yeah. Okay, so all the scripts are here. Output.css has also been done. Okay, so fine. I think there's some issue with the table over here. What we can do is try and run that command for rebuilding it again, just to check. Okay, so also we will see that output.css has been marked correctly or not. So let's go back to the directory. Okay, this is fine. this works, and we will once again check this. So dot slash view, all the HTML files fine. So we will just check. So yeah, after rebuilding, I can have a okay. So now this error is just because I closed my server. I have stopped it. So okay, I'll again go back to the server directory and run it. Okay. So now I will just close it once to reload it again. Okay, fine. Fine. So all these details are here. I want to get the details inputted by the user. So now I will again go to my index.js. Yeah. So now we have certain buttons over there like reset button or sign out button. We will write the same thing and just make it sign out. And of course, I don't want sign in with auth over here. So we will write one event. Okay. So now what I want, when you click sign out, I want it to redirect back to the index page. So I will write, let me just not this, but I want dot slash index.html. Okay, so this is what I want. Then we have a reset button as well. So we'll write for that. Document. Sorry. Yeah. So this is there. So document dot get element by ID again, but this time it is a reset one. So we will write reset one dot add event listener and some event I want to add. So what event? This time I want the form one to be refreshed. So what I will do, I will store in form one my events form. Not this, but it is named as event form. All these IDs you can check from your form.html file. It's the same. So this and then form one dot reset. Form dot reset. So after this, what we will do, we will try to get the data now. So after this, document dot get element by ID, not reset to add event button. So on clicking add event, I want this thing to be functional. Okay. Now what? Constant title. If it's not title, it's event name dot value. Then we will have constant start date. It will have start date dot value. Then we have start time. Then we have end date, and we have end time, and we also have priority. Okay. So all these datas I have. Now what I will do is I will convert my start date into a date, like proper date format. So as to check that the end date entered by the user should be always be greater than the start date. Okay. So I will enter the condition. If and start date is greater than end date time, we will have alert that end date time must be greater and then return nothing. Okay. So this is done. Now after this, what we are going to do, we will retrieve our access token from the local storage. Then, so when we set, we used set item, and now when we want to retrieve, we will use get item. So now if access token is there, what we want, okay, we'll create the else also. Else we will write console.error access token not found. Okay. So inside this, what we are going to do, we will create, now we want to add this event to our calendar. So we will now create a function called create calendar event, in which we will pass the title, the start date, all these data which I have used above, start date, then start time, end date, end time, priority, and calendar ID. Okay, so I will set it to primary. Primary means the user's own calendar. The user who is creating, signing in, that calendar ID is primary. So this is done. We'll put a full stop. We are passing a form into this thing. Okay. Now we will create this function. We will write async function, create calendar event. But instead of getting this form, I will simply write event details over here. Okay. So now I have event details over here. I will start the function now again. Like, okay, so before writing the try catch block, what I'm going to do is I will set my access token before calling the API. So I'll write gapi.auth dot set token. And now we can't write it like this, but we need it to retrieve from the local storage. So we'll write local storage dot get access token. Okay, so the access token is now set. Now we'll start further. So first I will write start date time, and I will convert this. So just one change over here. Event details dot start date. Okay. Then we have event details dot start time for seconds. Just put 00 and then to ISO string. Okay. So this is done. Same we will do with end date time. Then we will add it to the calendar. So we will also create a form first. We will write const event. Okay. So now it has summary, which is the event details dot title. Start me. The date time will be start date time. That is this. Time zone is our local time zone. End is date time. This time zone again. But this is not description. But okay. Now I told you I'll have color coded priority order. So the color ID will be another function. Get color ID, in which we are passing the priority. So for this, I'll create another function for the priority. So what I will write is function get color ID priority. Now I am using a switch case. Event dot priority is passed. Priority is here. If the case is not 1 now, I will write high. If it is high, we will return 11, which is the color code for red. Then if it is medium, we will return 6, which is the colored code for orange. And if it is low, then we will return 5, which is the color code for yellow. And then we have default calendars, which is 1. After this, we will close the switch statement and the function. So now it will return the value, so color ID will be set over here. After this, what we are going to do is, okay, now we will have a try and catch bug for setting up the event by calling the API. So I will have try block in which I will have my response. So now I want to insert something into the calendar. So I will use that function. And the calendar ID is event details.calendar ID because event details and calendar ID has been passed, which is primary in this case. So this is there. So resource is what? Event. Then what I'm going to do is I will check here if response status 200, then event has been created. Okay. So after this, in the else, I will write console.error failed to create event. And inside catch, again, we will write console.error. Same thing. Okay, so this is done. So this is the thing for a function for adding your calendar event when you press add event button with all these details. So now we will open our calendar. Okay, so certain settings you need to check before you proceed. Okay, for your country, and this time zone should be set to your local time zone. Otherwise, the time would be mismatched. It won't be the same as you enter in the form. Okay, now fine. This is there. Then we will go back to our application. So what we will do, we will write test. Today's date was 7:30, and then end date also I put it today with time 8:28 to be ended and high. And I add the event. Okay. So it says that event has been created. So let's see if the event has been created. Okay. So now I made the priority high, so it's red in color, and an event has been created. So for now, I'll just delete it. Okay. Now for the collaborators, we have another form. So we will work on that now. So after this, we will again write document.getElement by ID, not the event form, but it will be collaborator. These are all the IDs specified in the form.html. Okay, so we will add an event listener here as well. But I want this to be a async function because I'm going to use await inside. Okay, so this is there. Okay, this else should be about this. Okay, if access token is there, oh wait. Okay, so yeah, so that is there. Now, document.getElement by ID collaborator, we will write it here. So in both these things, I want to write event dot prevent default so that it does not get refreshed until I do it purposely. Okay. So here also after this, I don't want it to. Yeah. So this is there. Now I will get the collaborator emails. So what I will do, whenever I feed in the form, I want an array out of it. So I will write constant collaborator emails equals. So now this will have document.get element by ID, collaborator 1 dot value, collaborator 2 and 3 dot value respectively. So we have an array of this, and now I want to filter these emails so that none of the email blocks are empty. So only the values which are filled will go inside this. So this has been done. I am missing a parenthesis over here. Okay, so now this has been filtered. Now what we are going to do is we will get these data again till the check. Okay. So after this, we will paste this. Okay. Now again we will check if access token is there. We will proceed further. Now what is access token? So we need to first get from the local storage, and then if access token is there, we will create existing email. Now I will create another function called fetch collaborator emails that will fetch all the collaborator emails from the spreadsheet. Okay, so I'll just put this on hold and we'll create another fetch collaborator function. Okay, so async function fetch collaborators. Now again, I need my data, that is the spreadsheet ID and all. So again, I will use that store user server side code to get the spreadsheet ID and range from which I want the emails to be retrieved. So I'll put a try catch block inside this. It will be constant response. And yeah, then we will write await fetch. Okay, not fetch collaborator, but I used store user. Okay, so now this is there. The method will be get itself, and okay, if not response, okay, this is there. Now we will store the data. After storing the data, we will destructure it. Then after destructuring it, we will again create constant params, which will have spreadsheet ID as spreadsheet ID and range as the range sent by the server. So this is done. Now we will have another try catch in which we will now call the API. So this constant response will be get the params. So using the get function and these params form, I will get the data which is stored in this spreadsheet ID in this range, which are the emails in this case. So after this, what I will do is, okay, wait, let's check this. Await GAPI dot client dot sheets dot spreadsheets dot value dot get. Okay, correct. Now we will create another variable value which will have response dot result dot values. Okay, so this will contain the response result, which is here. And then we will check that if values dot length, that if there are values still there, it's not like no emails are there. So if this exists, we will create another this thing. Here we'll map the row from row 0. So we have extracted the emails here, and then we will return emails. Okay. After return emails for this if I will have an else block which says console.want, no emails found. Okay. Then, and what I will do is I will return the array, and inside catch, I will have console.error, fail to fetch emails. Okay. So this is done. Now for this also. Okay. So now this is done. So now fetch collaborator emails is getting me all the emails stored in the spreadsheet. After this, I will write const valid emails is equals to collaborator email, that is the array of the emails filled in the form. We will filter the email. Okay, so we will filter if the existing emails includes that email. Okay, so if the existing emails, which are the spreadsheet emails, includes the email which is entered in the form, then it gets stored in the valid emails. Okay. Okay, so we'll check this once again. Collaborator emails. It's up there, fine. Dot filter and existing emails dot includes email, fine. After this, what we are going to do, yeah, we will check the length of these valid emails is greater than 0. Then we will again these files. Okay, so what is supposed to be added again? The title, the start date, and the priority, and the calendar ID. So calendar ID in this case will be email. Sorry, I missed a for loop over here. It's like for every mail, in valid mails, I want this thing to happen. So this calendar ID will be the email, and this for loop will be, okay, so this is the form. We'll end this. Yeah. This is for the for, and I want if again. Okay. So, okay. So this is done. We are passing the calendar ID and everything here itself. Now the calendar ID has changed to email. So now everything is same. We will go back to our PTO. We will sign it and sign in again. Till the time, what you want to do is, okay, so my another ID is this. I want to log in from this because if you see the spreadsheet, only one email ID is there. So for collaborators, when it checks that if the email exists or not, it won't be existing and hence it won't run. So I need to log in using my other mail. I will sign in using my this mail. Yes. And okay, so this is done. Then what we're going to do is open my other calendar, and I want this to be shared now. Okay. So now this is already shared, but you need to make sure that whoever is the organizer, your calendar should be shared with them with it set to make changes to event so that they can change the event. Okay, so now fine. That is there. We go back. So now we are logged in with 3001 and the collaborator will be 3006. Okay, so we will add Okay, I'll just make it the same day as today. And then medium priority maybe. And my collaborator is post this. We'll add collaborator and we'll check. Okay, so did not get added. Fine. So what we are going to do is add event button is there. Then collaborator. Okay. Wait, fetch collaborator emails is there. Check if it's the same thing. Create calendar event. Okay, so this is there. Everything is set. Events dot title. Get color ID. Okay. So this is fine. Check the console once. Okay, wait. Let's just sign out and sign in again. We'll check if it is shared. Okay, it is shared, but still it's not storing the value. Okay, so let's just do one thing. We will stop the port and reload it again once. So we'll go to index.html and we will go live. We will inspect as well. We will log in using this. Okay, so the email is not getting added over here. We go to index.js. And wherever we are redirecting the form, after fetch user email, I'll just comment it out to see what is the error. We'll go through. It shows that user email has been stored. Okay, now, okay, maybe something refreshing issue or something, but now the user is getting stored. So now I will again uncomment it so that it redirects back to the form page. And I will create another event with certain time, suppose 7:46 itself, today only, and then time maybe is anything, a low priority event. Suppose that collaborator. Okay, so the problem is when I click on the add collaborator, it's getting refreshed, but I want it to stay. So what I will do is I will go on my windows.onload function at the end and I will check, okay, add event button. Now add event collaborator. I put event.prevent default till it's getting loaded. So we'll check this thing again. Okay, so document.get element by ID and event.prevent default. This is there. And we are storing the collaborators' email as well. Everything is fine. It's just that the form is getting reloaded again. So we'll check these things first. Is reset one, then only it's getting resetted, then sign out button is that. So we do not have actually any reload button, but still it's getting reloaded. Okay, we will just write anything here and check. Okay, still it's getting refreshed on adding add collaborators. Okay, we will check. Okay, so alright, so what we saying document.get element by ID, it is collaborator, correct? And I will check in the form.html once if the form is collaborator itself and in the button's ID. So submit is yes, it is collaborator. That's fine. We will go back to index.js, document.get element by ID, collaborator. Then we are adding the event listener of click over here, async function. Then we write event.prevent default, which is fine. Constant collaborator. So all these things are fine, but why is it getting useless? So what we will do is just run this server again. It's running. We'll refresh this page. Client has been initialized. Okay, so this will create event for the user. Okay, so it says index.js 270 has some error. But first we will, okay, so this is created, but for this thing, we will go to index 270. What is it? 270? Yeah. So this thing, calendar ID is equals to email. It's the same thing. The email is there. So the constant email of valid emails, it's the same thing. Then const, oh, I did not write const, so it was not fine. So that variable was not initialized, so was not put in the use again. So I will give this date. Today now I will change this to study maybe, and then the end time. Okay. Okay, I gave the wrong listing. So okay. Event has been created for this. Event has been created. Correct. So now I can see study in the collaborator and in the organizer also. So the event has been added. Now we proceed towards the reminder portion. So now what we are going to do, we'll, before sending the reminders, I want you all to create a function that checks if the event exists in the calendar or not before sending the reminder. So we will write one more function over here, which helps in checking the event if it exists or not. Okay. So we will create Okay, so before that, when I create an event for the collaborator, I want an email also to go with it. So after it has been added, what I will do is I will write const subject. The subject will be event invitation. Yeah, the title, and const body will be you have been invited to the event. And now we will use Gmail API for sending mails. So I will create a send email function. It sends email subject and body. So now I have to create a send email function for this. So, so instead of email, I will address it as T. Now we will set the access token before calling the API. Then on email, we'll have to, then it will get over, and then comma, we will add a subject. Yeah, subject, and then there will be this thing. So now this all will be joined with a backslash, and that is all these things will be separated by a single line. That is next line. Okay, so for added security, while sending, we will convert this P to A with certain regex expression. Do not enter the URL or plus or underscore signs. Then I will have a constant request from Gmail to send. Okay, so now what I want to send is, okay, the API users.messages correct. So user ID is me, that is the ID with which you have logged in, that, and resource will be the base 64, the variable which we wrote over here. Okay, so after writing this, we will have catch block. So now this will await the response request, and if email has been sent successfully, console.log, yeah, email has been sent successfully, comma the response. Okay, and then if not, we'll go to the else statement, and we will write console.error failed to send email, and then there'll be again console.error for the catch block. So this is how we send email to this. So this is done. If now we, again there is some issue. Okay, so I by mistake resetted it, so I have to write it again. Okay, and for the collaborator also. Okay, event has been added. Now I open my Gmail. So it shows that you have been invited to the event. Now this title is not coming because I guess I did not use the backticks. So we can change that. Subject is not getting used because of the backtick. Okay. So now when you will send, it will be fine. But the thing is, the send email function works. So now we will quickly go to check event function if it exists. So we can create it anywhere. Suppose after send email, I'm creating this. So it's the async function. So what this is going to do is this will have event ID and calendar ID as parameter. Okay. So now we will again set access token. Okay. This is done. Then we will have the try catch block. Inside try, we are going to get response from calendar. So we will write constant response events.get. Now what we will get is calendar ID set to the calendar ID and event ID set to event ID. So now if we can get this, means if the response status is 200, then return false. And one more thing you add, even if the event thing is, as sometimes you delete, but still it does not go, the delete status is not updated very soon. Sometimes it's cancelled itself. So we need to write response.result status should also not be equal to cancelled. Then only it returns true. Otherwise, the error will be there and console.warn event not found and we will return false. And after everything, we will check if after the catch, we will check if error dot status equals 404. Then also console.warn even not found. Okay. And you will return in this case as well. Else, we will log the error and return false. So now, so this is the function for event existence. Now we will go to create calendar event. Yeah. After it has been added successfully, I will first store the event ID. Yeah. So after this, I will schedule a reminder. In which I will be passing my event ID, then the calendar ID, event details dot calendar ID, then start date time, then the time, suppose 20 minutes before I want to send my email, and again I will run this schedule reminder. Yeah, so now 5 minutes before I want the, so this is there. Now what will happen? I have to create the schedule reminder. So you know what to schedule reminder. So function schedule reminder. So this has event ID, calendar ID. This I want as start time. minutes is fine, and I want it to be as methods. Okay, so event ID, calendar ID, start time, minutes, and method, and also title. Okay, so I forgot to pass it over here. After this, it will be event detail dot title. Same over here. Okay, so now we come back. First, we will remove this. Okay, so now we will have a event start time variable, which we'll convert to this. Then what we are going to do, we will write a variable constant check time, which will be minutes, and we'll convert it into milliseconds because it deals with milliseconds. And now we will schedule time. Okay, so this is not what I want. So that will be the event start time minus the check time. That is when I want to schedule the event. So we will need to write, yeah. So this is the schedule time over here. Then what I will do, I will calculate what is the time now. So that is date dot now. I will check if schedule reminder is greater than this. Okay, so if it is greater, then now we will check that. First, let's calculate the delay. That will be schedule time minus the now time. And now I will write a set timeout function that will create a delay. After that delay, whatever is there in the function will be carried out. So I will write this. Okay. So now inside this, what I'm going to do is I will check just before the reminder, we are checking if the event exists. And then if it does, okay, no, not this, but if the event exists, what we are going to do is we will check if calendar ID is primary. Because I told you that they have an inbuilt function for the user who is creating the event, but not for the collaborator. So we will check if the calendar ID is primary. Then we will call the setup inbuilt reminder function with event ID, calendar ID, and method. Okay, so this is done. Else, if it's the collaborator, this thing, I will want to send a customized email. So now I will write else okay, so we will have who we are sending as the calendar ID, then const subject will be reminder, which is tactics. Okay, this is there. Then we will have a body as well. Okay. Okay, so this is it. And now I will send an email using the same method with GAPI. And this else is done. Now this is event exists, so we will have an else for that as well. So it has console dot error event not found. Okay. And this is for the delay. So what I'm going to do is write the delay over here, which we calculated. Okay, with a semicolon. And then again we have an else console.1 invalid schedule time, like if it is greater than the now time. Okay, so this is done. Now this feature is still left, that is set up inbuilt. So now I will write that. So it is also a async function with event ID, calendar ID, and methods. So now here we'll put a try catch. Inside try, we will send a response. Okay, so now this patch adds things to the blender, which has already been created. So we will use patch gapi.calendar.events.patch. So calendar ID will be calendar ID, event ID will be this. Reminders, use default we are making first, that we are switching off the default reminder and we are overriding with whatever we are passing. For the minutes, it needs to check if it's an email or pop-up. So it will check method double equals email. We'll use a ternary conditional operator. So suppose I want to send an email after 20 minutes or 5. So this is there. Yeah. And then we will close this. After this, we will write if response status reminder has been set. Else console.error fail to set reminder, and this will also have error. Console.error fail to set reminder. So we will save this now. Also, okay, so this is methods and not method. Yeah. So now I will check. There is my create calendar. Yeah, this is here. Yeah, so 20 minutes and 5 minutes. The same thing I've set over here. Now we will go back. We will come back here, just sign out and sign in again once. I will delete these for any confusion. Okay, so where is my CTO? Okay, I'll continue. Yes, so suppose I create test itself and it's 8.8 right now. So with buffer, I'll keep it 8:30. We'll add event. So event has been created. So at 8:10, I should be receiving an email. Before that, I must have received an invitation, event invitation. So after that, I will be getting my, okay, so, okay, I think I forgot to resolve the backtext, but okay, the email is coming. We will wait till 8:10. And I'll open another ID to check. It's 8:10, so now I got a reminder that this is a reminder for the event test getting over in 20 minutes. This was this thing, and here also I'll be getting from Google. So this is my this thing. Yeah. So this notification I got that, okay, notification test at this. So one is the inbuilt reminder being set to the collaborator's email, and the other email is that, okay, this test is getting over in 20 minutes. Okay, so this is it. So we are done with the reminders as well. Okay, so now as we approach the end of the session, I would like to thank everyone for being such a wonderful audience and patiently attending the session. So this is the attendance form QR. Kindly scan it to mark yourself present. Okay, after this, the link will also be sent in the chat box. This is the feedback form. So your thoughts are invaluable to us to improve our future webinar and events. Do scan this as well and fill it. The link for this will also be sent in the chat box. Okay. So do reach out if you have any questions or want to share your own experience on Taskflow. Feel free to tag or reach out to me anytime. These are the social media handles. Also follow IST's social media handles as well to stay connected and to keep up with the latest updates regarding valuable resources, events, and more such webinars. Thank you.